There are three main ways to apply to colleges and universities, the biggest being via the Common App. This program, alongside the Coalition, allows students to apply to multiple universities by using the same application. Generally, the only difference would be the essay components for each application. To determine which application platform to use, students will need to look at the college website to see which is the best fit for them. In addition, some schools take direct applications. This means that you are applying, or your student is applying,
On this slide and the college packet, you will be able to see the SAT, ACT, and GPA averages that these schools have accepted. You'll also see how many students applied, and out of how many of these students applied, how many were accepted. It's important to look at this, but also not let this deter you from applying to a university. There are a lot of other factors that go into your application when you're applying other than just your SAT scores and your GPA.
While many universities have gone test optional, there are some factors in which you may need to submit a SAT or ACT score. It could be for a merit-based scholarship, acceptance into the Honors College, specific programs, and other important reasons. The list of universities requesting that students complete the Self-Reported Academic Record (SRAR) is growing. This is a list of your students' courses and associated grades that have been completed or will be completed for high school or college credit. Here is a list of common SRAR schools. Students must submit the application and complete the SRAR for their process to be complete. The SRAR is not the same as students' self-reporting SAT, ACT scores. As I mentioned on the previous slide, this is submitting your students' courses and associated grades that have been completed or will be completed in high school.
So there are different application deadlines depending on the university. There's regular decision, early action, rolling admission, and restrictive early action. So each school has their own separate set of deadlines that they follow. One particular deadline to be mindful of is early decision. The early decision deadline is a binding commitment. So what that means is if you apply to a university early decision and you get accepted, then that's where you're going. So it's important that when students are applying early decision, they're only applying to one university early decision because they are committing to that school if they are accepted. Early action is very similar in that it has early deadlines. However, it's not a binding commitment. So if a school allows you to apply early action, you can apply to as many schools as you would like under the early action deadline. Again, each school has their different sets of deadlines. Some schools don't even have early decision as an option. So it's important to check your university's website to see their different deadline types and which deadline type meets your students' needs.
It is important that your student organize their application process. Keeping a record of where you're applying, deadlines, letters of recommendation, supplemental essays, and any other required materials for the application is key. It is highly recommended that you complete a chart such as the one shown here when you've determined where you want to apply.
According to the National Association for College Admission Counseling, NACAC, there is no definite plan or specific combination of factors that will guarantee a student admission to their preferred institution. Colleges and universities review many aspects of prospective student applications in order to determine which students will be admitted. While academic performance has remained the most important consideration for colleges, in recent years, specific changes in the top factors have become evident. For many years, grades in college prep courses had been rated as the top factor in admission decisions, followed by strength of curriculum, admissions test scores, and grades in all courses, overall GPA. However, for the past admission cycles, the percentage of colleges rating grades in all courses are considerably important, has matched or surpassed grades in college prep courses. Class rank has become much less important over the past decade. In addition to a student inputting their colleges in the colleges I'm applying to section of Naviance, students will also need to complete a transcript request form. They will need one form per school, and the form is going to be available in the school counseling office or can also be found on the senior website through school counseling. It's important to note the deadlines of your students' applications. We have a lot of students with November 1st, November 15th deadlines. With that being said, their materials are due to the counselor by October 11th. And when I say materials, I mean the transcript request form and, if needed, the student insight sheet. Counselors do follow the application deadline in terms of submitting documents. However, the most important component is your student submitting their application. So if your student is ready to submit an application, but their documents haven't been uploaded yet, please have your student submit their application. Counselors will be working to get the supporting documents in or on the deadline. So to recap the transcript request process, the first step is for students to update the list of colleges that they are applying to under Colleges I'm Applying to. The second step is for students to complete the transcript request form. Again, this is found in the counseling office or on the senior webpage. We do have them already pre-printed if your student would like to come pick them up. The third step is the counselor sends the supporting documents to the colleges through Naviance. Again, counselors follow the application deadline. But of course, again, the most important component is for your student to complete that application, whether it be via Common App, which tends to be the most common, Coalition, or a direct application to the institution. When looking at letters of recommendation, it's important for your student to go to the university's admissions page and verify how many letters that university or college require. Who do they need to be from? Is it specific in the type of teacher? Do they need both teacher and counselor letters? And when thinking about whom to ask, they should be able to identify teachers that they have a good rapport with and that they believe knows their performance well. Once your student has asked for a letter of recommendation, they should follow up in Naviance. There's a letters of recommendation area, and that's where they can submit the request to that teacher. It will allow that teacher to upload their letter of recommendation for that student. When requesting that letter of recommendation in Naviance, it's important to note that your student should make a general request and not a specific request. The general request will only have that recommender upload their letter one time. With a specific request, they will have to upload their letter multiple times. Sometimes I get students ask, well, how do I know what school the letter is being sent to? Your student will clarify on that transcript request form that we went over earlier whose letter, will go to which university. If your student does need a counselor letter of recommendation, then they will need to complete a student insight sheet. The student insight sheet is found on the senior website of the Rockridge High School Counseling webpage. Once they have filled out the questionnaire, it's 14 questions all about them, then they can email that directly to their counselor. This form is due at the same time as the transcript request form, or it would be recommended that your student also send it before that deadline. That way, their counselor can begin the writing process for their letter of recommendation. The free application for federal student aid opens on October 1st. However, beforehand, students and families can create an FSA ID. The FSA ID consists of a username and password you create to gain access to the U.S. Department of Education's online system. The FSA ID can also serve as your legal signature when completing electronic documents. A great resource with all things college and career related is Ms. Marchante's section of our school counseling website called College and Career Center. Within here, you can find a lot of great resources to help you with whether it be college process or the career processes, exploring alternative options such as military, gap year, apprenticeships. She is a wealth of information. We have a variety of military branches coming to Rockridge. Your student, if they are interested, can sign up to meet with a representative here at Rockridge, and they can do this through Naviance. So once your student is logged into Naviance, on that main page towards the bottom, they're going to see an area where they can register to meet with representatives from the various branches or even college reps as well. In addition to that, your student will need to take the ASVAB. We will be administering this at Rockridge High School, and that date will be coming in the near future. Some other options are looking at either a gap year or an apprenticeship. For a gap year, students can take generally a year off between high school graduation and starting college. It's recommended that they still apply to college and defer their start date. However, it's important to note that during that gap year, it should be planned out and it should be meaningful. You can use some of the resources found here in this PowerPoint to get some more information about the gap year. Also, there is more information on our school counseling page. Another component are apprenticeships. So earn while you learn. So shared earlier about an apprenticeship that one of our last year seniors is a part of. So this means that they are learning a specialized skill through a program that is going to be applicable to what they are studying in classes as well. Northern Virginia Community College is the local community college and an alternative route to a four-year degree. Students can go to NOVA for a year or 2 years, depending on their interest and what they need. NOVA does have guaranteed admission with more than 40 area colleges and universities. Generally, a student will need to complete their associate's degree in order to be a part of that guaranteed admission agreement. It's a great alternative route if students are looking at something a little bit different than instead of going directly to a four-year school. NOVA George Mason Advanced. This is a new partnership. It came out recently within the last 2-3 years. It gives students at NOVA an opportunity to start taking courses at George Mason University in that second year instead of the typical third year of college. So through this program, students at NOVA, they can apply within their first year for the advanced program, and if accepted during that second year, they are both NOVA and George Mason students, and they'll have access to courses at George Mason, access to the facilities there, alongside with a lot more. Depending on when you're seeing this information, here are some great upcoming dates during the month of September and October. Please stay tuned though to Ms. Marchante's weekly newsletter and Mr. Dulman's weekly newsletter for more up-to-date information. If your student has not done so already, please have them schedule their mandatory senior advisement meeting with their assigned school counselor. They have until October 14th to do so. You can see the link here on this page. It also has been communicated in the morning news show and in the weekly newsletters by Ms. Marchante and by Mr. Dulman. They can see here the breakdown of counselors based on last name. And during these meetings, counselors alongside with students will discuss the post-high school plans, whether that be looking at four-year colleges, community college, military opportunities, gap years, etc. If you or your student have questions, please reach out to your student's counselor via email or give them a call. We'll be happy to work with you. We know that the process of post-high school plans can be a new one for many of our families. So we are here to help be a guiding hand along the way. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.